Welcome to the HR Happy Hour work break. You're here with Trish and Steve. Hey, Steve Bose.
Hey, Trish, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good.
What shirt do you have on there? I just see like TON. Boston. Look at
Repping,
that.
repping the Terriers. BU, go BU.
Yeah, how much did that shirt cost? 30 grand?
About $100,000.
It's a lot, right? A lot every single year. That's
It's
good. I'm glad you're proudly wearing it.
They should have given me the shirt. Let's just leave it at that.
You know what? That is so true. They should give the parent a shirt when you pay that much to have your kid go to college.
That's not a great way to start the show. Let's pivot to a happier topic, please.
Okay. Well, do you know what I did today? I got up and did some work, but then I took a few hours off and I went to the Endangered Wolf Center here in St. Louis, Missouri, and it was wonderful. Have you ever heard of these places?
I have not, Trish, but I am a fan of the very popular, probably 80s or 90s song, Will the Wolf Survive by Los Lobos. So I don't know if they play that song in that.
I thought you were going to say Hungry Like the Wolf.
Also a good song, but
also a good song. We could just name wolf song. No, we have no more wolf songs, right? No, it was really great. Except for the fact that it was raining today and it's like an hour and a half tour outside that you walk around. But the good news is apparently wolves, it was wolves primarily, several different kind, and fox were there and some other animals like that. So anyway, apparently they all come out when it gets cold or rainy.
Okay.
They move around more, so we actually got to see quite a few of them. So
Nice.
It was really, really fun. Super endangered. I didn't realize how endangered. There are only about 180. They are Mexican wolves, like the gray wolf that we're used to seeing.
Los Lobos, then. I was right on with that reference.
You really were. No, and I had no idea they were that endangered, seriously. And then there's also more in the Midwest and actually over to the Carolinas, which they're primarily in the Carolinas, is also the red wolf, which are the ones that kind of look a little bit like big coyotes, if you can picture that. But the whole point, and I told them I would absolutely share this with everyone, so what better place, is that they want to get people away from the image of the big bad wolf, because from
I know we've got a really strong following with the endangered wolf audience. Yeah.
No, it's for everyone. So lots of things I didn't realize. I won't share them all, but I didn't realize they really only go after deer and elk. They don't really typically go after livestock like coyotes will, or even small animals. So a lot of times what happens is farmers or other people see wolves and they shoot them thinking they're a coyote. And that's what's caused the problem. And the last thing I will just say, if you're interested in wolves at all, or in conservation and just how the earth kind of regenerates and things, they said there's a really good documentary about Yellowstone where they didn't have any wolves and they reintroduced some of the wolves from this sanctuary back out into the wild. They actually do it as puppies.
Okay.
And it changed the whole ecosystem in a number of years, because it's like the wolves keep the deer population down, which helped the regrowth of trees and, all the things, so that birds came back more than before. Beavers came back. It was like all these other animals came back because the wolves were there to keep the deer population down.
Gotcha.
So anyway, it was fascinating. So yeah, wolves. I spent my afternoon talking about wolves. So there you go. And actually it was started, I want to shout this out to see if you know this, started by, do you remember Marlin Perkins, the old show in the 70s, The Mutual of Omaha Wild Kingdom?
I have heard of it. I don't want to claim to remembering it, but
you don't remember that?
Somebody
out there has to remember Wild Kingdom.
I do recall this, yes.
Anyway, Marlin Perkins started this wolf sanctuary. So one of the top sanctuaries in our country. Shout out to them. What'd you do today?
I worked, Trish, all day. I'm not even joking. I did. I'm working. I'm almost done with it. I'm doing a webinar next week along with our friends at Paycom. And I was completing the presentation deck for said webinar. It's not quite done. It'll be done by tomorrow. But
what is the topic?
It's about employee experience, HR technology, frustration levels. They did a big survey showing what people are, their experiences with technology, too many systems. I don't want to go, no, I want to give it all away. It's going to be cool. Okay. It's going to be fun. And that's what I worked on pretty much most of the day today. So yeah.
I'm going to call that your 50-second webinar.
Trish, get ready to have your mind blown. You ready?
Hold on. Let me get ready.
Get ready. And just,
all right, I'm ready.
Let me get this out. Don't react. Just let me get it out. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe and maybe not mean the same thing. How about that?
That is some truth right there. What made you realize that?
I just stumbled upon it, the observation.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
Mean the same thing. This is some fascinating work break material. I have to tell you.
I've got a good like HRE workplacey story though. I could share.
Oh, let's do that. Okay.
Goldman Sachs, Trish, you're familiar with the big financial company, Goldman Sachs,
yes.
big powerhouse Wall Street firm, very famous, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
Well, notorious amongst firms, Wall Street firms, the first year you get hired into that job as an analyst, like a research analyst, kind of like an assistant to like a banker or a broker, et cetera.
Right.
High stress, lots of work, and very, very demanding. Everybody knows this going in. No one's making a secret of this, right? It's not a surprise. Well, Trish, the first year analysts at Goldman Sachs decided they were going to put together their own kind of quasi employee engagement survey amongst themselves because things have been pretty rough. Trish, here's what that little informal or unofficial engagement survey showed, which they did share with the muckety mucks at the bank, by the way. Okay. Their average work week so far in 2021, Trish, 98 hours per week. When asked to 98 hours per week. When asked to rate their mental, these are a 1 to 10 scale, right? A few questions, rate yourself on a 1 to 10 scale, 10 being the best, right? 1 being the worst. Their mental health average score 2.8. Their physical well-being 2.1. And whether or not they thought, unless things changed, they'd be still with Goldman Sachs 6 months from now, only a 3.5. One more thing, 75% are considering mental health counseling. I don't know where they'd have the time for that, to be honest with you. And the last
when
thing
they quit their job.
But here's what their demand was, or their request to management after all this. This is what their request is. They want their hours per week to be capped at 80. And they would like no work requirements after 9 p.m. on Fridays and Saturdays. Those were the 2 requests they made. Isn't that incredible? Like, I've never been in that world. I've never worked in it. I don't think I've even really known anybody who's been in it. That is unreal.
I'll tell you what, it wasn't, I'm not going to say it's quite that bad, but pretty close. I worked at PwC. The other members of the Big Four are very similar to that type of work week. So for example, I was HR, but for the tax department. So I had to be there when they were, and during tax season, absolutely 80, 90 hour work weeks. It's insane.
Yeah.
To the point we were bringing them in breakfast, lunch, dinner, everything. This is back in the day, but who knows what they do now. But yeah, that was the expectation, was that. So yeah, I'm not shocked. It was weird too. I think when you're in a company like that and everyone else is being asked to do the same hours, it's almost like this badge of honor that you all carry, like, oh, I worked 18 hours yesterday, and that's ridiculous.
But I
love
the idea, like they went rogue and did their own employee engagement survey. You ever have anybody do that in any place you work? Like an own group of employees just kind of go rogue and come to you with a list of demands?
Not to that extent. It's interesting because I mean, at least I got somebody to listen, maybe, right?
Yeah,
but yeah, to think about like 80 hours a week, and that's what you're going down to. That's still unhealthy. That's absolutely unhealthy.
Yeah, I mean, if you're doing 80, obviously they're working 6 days a week for sure, maybe 7. So 6 into 80 is, I don't know, 15-ish or a little less than that. I mean, God, that's crazy. These are rough. They're
probably working 7 days a week at that point.
Yeah. So anyway, I thought that was interesting on 2 counts. One, how crazy and demanding that workplace is, and then secondly, they decided to kind of almost like a little Norma Ray deal going on, right? With these analysts, they make a lot of money too. I think I read the average salary for these folks. It starts off at like $140,000 or something. So I mean, they're paid very well, and these are good jobs. No, don't get me wrong. I'm not really crying for these men and women too much.
Wait a minute. Think about this. They're not paid very well because if you are working.
Oh, you're going to do it by hour? You're going to drive.
Even if you're working, I'm just saying, even if you're working 80 hours a week, You've just cut your pay. You're now at 70,000.
All right, that's another way to look at it. Sure. Yeah.
Okay. And I will say this, I had this problem. It was at PwC because when I started and I think I was going to school for my master's at that time. So I was still trying to do school and work all of these hours. And they told me I was salary, but the expectation then was I was told that I would have to get 550 to 600 hours of overtime a year to be considered even like okay. And I did the math and I was young. I was just out of college. And I remember like marching into my boss and I'm like, I can go work at the mall for this. Just about. It would close. I'm like, I can actually go what you're now, if I equate that out to what that works out to per hour with my 600 hours of overtime added in to my annual.
Yeah, the problem is
it
they
was
close
awful.
those malls a lot, though, Trish. You can't really work a 19-hour day at the mall usually.
No, but the point being,
I know. I'm joking. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I didn't think of it that way. That's actually really a good point.
So now I will tell you, he was like, well, that's what we do. So it was either take it or leave it.
Yeah.
We also got great raises. I mean, I would say the 10 years I was there, it was absolutely double digits every single year on my percentage increase. The highest was 23% I got.
Well, yeah, most of us lived with what, half that probably? Yeah, absolutely.
No, and then when I left there, it was funny because my next job was as a director of HR, and we got our increases, and I had great performance, great year, whatever, and it was a 4% raise. And I was like, I went in there, I'm like, what in the world is like, what's going on? Am I getting fired? You give me 4% increase? Like, it was insane. But think about it, like, if that's all you know is, the good times, you're getting 23% increases, and then you go to a job where you get 4, you're like, what in the world is going on? So yeah, it was a quite an eye-opening experience to leave.
Or have all the good times gone.
That's right. So
one last thing, if anybody's doing the HR Tech virtual event this week, my session with the 6 startups that we found and selected is tomorrow afternoon, 2 p.m. Eastern at HR Tech Spring virtual event. Tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern.
There
Check
you go.
it out. It's gonna be fun.
Good. So we'll do the work break after your session. We can get a recap.
I don't want Trish. The session's not live. We could probably do, but yes,
I mean,
right after
we
I'm
can
done.
Talk about it after it
I'm
runs.
done with the session, we will. Yes.
I think it should be live. Why didn't HR Tech do live?
It's hard to pull that off across.
I don't care if it's hard. We've had
universes and time.
We have put people on the moon. Come on.
Yeah,
it's too hard to do a live session.
I just want to say, I know those Apollo folks ruined it for all the rest of us, because when something couldn't be done today, if they never made it to the moon, we'd be able to say, well, and we couldn't make it to the moon.
Name another thing. You can do a whole face transplant on people, and we can't do a live session. I call BS. That's crap. I think there should be, let that shit go. Okay. All right. I'm going to let that go. All right. Thanks everyone for listening. As always, keep it old school. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Bye.